Good evening. Hello. I'm Sharona. You are watching the Zone Blitz, the weekly NFL female webcast where we talk football and all things sports, but mostly football here. We will occasionally get into a little bit of college football. We've got a big show tonight. Very excited to talk last week I was outnumbered, you guys. I was talking NFC with Sonja and my co-host on my Yahoo Sports radio show, Vasti. She is a Panthers fan. Obviously, Sonja is a Detroit Lions fan. I'm so happy to be joined by my AFC compadres talking some AFC. Obviously, I cover the Tennessee Titans for NFL Female, the official reporter for NFL Female for the Tennessee Titans. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Sonja. Sonja, how you doing? Sonja has a new computer. We are so excited for her.
I'm so super excited too, and I feel like a real sideline reporter type with the headphones. So
you look like one too. You always did, especially with that headgear you were wearing last week.
Exactly. So I feel pretty cool right now. So hi everybody, I'm Sonja. I'm the official Detroit Lions fan reporter for NFL Female, coming to you live from my bedroom.
Because that's how we do it.
That's how we do. So I am very excited tonight because it's going to be all AFC everything, like I told everybody last week. So I'm really excited. We've got two great people with us, Kristin, our NFL Female Bills reporter, and then we also have Mr. Reid, who is here with us as well to tell us all about Bills Mafia and 26 shirts. So Del, I'm going to turn it over to you real quick.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to, just to mix it up with you guys and, talk about a little bit what we're doing over here in Western New York.
Oh, cool. Great. So glad to have you on. Kristin, you want to say hi real quick to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kristin, and I'm coming to you from my car tonight, actually. Hiding from all the kids in my house.
She's got 7 kids in her house, you guys. 7 of them.
Yeah, Kristin is one of my heroes. She is a busy lady out there doing not just doing the football thing, but she is a mother, and she's got now Kristin, you've got an extra girl with you now. Is that right?
Oh, 2 of them.
2 of them.
Yeah, I have 3, and then I have 2 nieces, and then
wow.
there's 2 cousins here tonight too, so there's 7 in them.
Okay, all right. I knew that there was something. So, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get started. And Del, let's talk a little bit about 26 shirts. It is. I may get choked up and actually get a little bit teary-eyed talking about this. So if I do that, and I am, you guys forgive me. Tell everyone. Well, let's start by telling everyone what 26 shirts is and how it came about.
Sure, thanks. So 26shirts.com is a website that I launched back in November of this past year. And it kind of sprung out of the whole Bills Mafia thing. It has to be, separate from Bills Mafia, at least legally, in terms of
right.
how we handle the money and everything, because the Buffalo Fan Base Incorporated is a 501c3. And when I told my lawyer about what I wanted to do back in November, she kind of slapped my hand and said, "You can't do that. You can't just give money to people." But, so it's worked out where I've actually been able to partner up with a shirt company. But anyways, so what it is, we sell a different limited edition. Currently, right now, it's just, I have to call it Buffalo football themed T-shirt, and for 2 weeks we sell it, and then all the profits we get from that limited edition design we give to a family in need, and then once that 2 weeks is up, the shirt is gone, and we move on to a new design. And all the designs have been donated by different artists and stuff like that. So it works out pretty well. We've been able to do some real damage, like good damage, to people's medical bills and stuff like that. So it's been a fun ride. So I hope I did a good job of explaining it there. I think I was a little all over the place, but that's what it is.
No, you did. You did a great job. What inspired you to do this?
Well, the whole thing with, Bill's Mafia and everything, we have a pretty large following on Twitter, so people are often coming at me and saying, "Hey, can you promote this? Can you retweet this? Can you, help get the word out about this and that?" And I try to filter through it a little bit because there's people are always looking to just take advantage and stuff like that, which is I understand that. But so anyways, so this guy randomly comes at me in late October, maybe it was early November or something of last year, and he says, "Hey, I won this jersey from Summer Sanders, the Olympian swimmer, who's actually a Bills fan. Is a signed Mario Williams jersey." And he says, "I'm going to raffle it off, and can you help me?" He's going to raffle it off online. "Can you just help me get the word out so that people will learn that I'm doing this raffle?" So I'm like, "All right, what's the raffle for? What are you doing it for?" And then he goes on to tell me the story about his daughter who has retinoblastoma, which is basically cancer in the eye, in both eyes, right? So
yeah, I'm a peds hemoc nurse, so yeah, that's very familiar to me.
All right. Did I say it right? Retinoblastoma, is that what it is?
Yep, retinoblastoma, very good.
It took me 3 or 4 months to finally get the hang of that. But so I'm reading this story about his daughter, and I'm getting really moved by it, and not to get too graphic, but I mean he's telling me his 2-year-old daughter, basically had to have one eye removed because of the tumors that were in it, and the other eye was getting chemotherapy applied directly to the eye. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I told him, I said, "Dude, absolutely, I am more than happy to retweet your tweet about this jersey." I said, "Not only that, next time we sell a special shirt," because we had just finished selling these Kiko Alonso T-shirts. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, the linebacker who unfortunately is not playing this year.
Big fan.
Yeah, I started that whole Legend of Kiko Alonso thing, so I was selling T-shirts, and it was kind of fun going in there. To be honest with you, it was fun going in and checking, see how many did we sell today, how many did we sell today. So I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this. I don't make any money from it. It's fun to help people and to do the stuff. So I said, next time we sell a shirt, I'll give you all the profits from it. So then a couple days later, I'm in a men's Bible study that we go together on Monday nights, and we talk and we pray and stuff. So I'm sharing this idea that I have about selling shirts to help people, and I'm like, I always go way too big. Yeah, I always bite off more than I can chew. I'm gonna sell 52 shirts in a year. I have this idea, I'm gonna sell 52, a different shirt every week, and they're like, "Dude, that's insane. You don't do that." So I said, okay, well maybe every 2 weeks then. So then my friend looks at me, my friend Jake, he looks at me and he says, "Dude, that's 26 shirts." And I said, "Yeah, all right, cool." So we sorry, I lost my train of thought. So anyway, so I wake up the next morning thinking about it, and there's this thought in my head, 26 shirts. And okay, so just set it up, and I bought the 26shirts.com domain. I wrote a blog post, and I kind of put it out there. This is, I call it my Jerry Maguire moment, where I had this idea and I put it out there, and suddenly I was accountable to it.
Like a mission statement.
Next thing, yeah, so mission statement, right? So the next thing I know, the news is interviewing me, and they're talking about this idea, and I haven't had a website yet. I haven't, I don't know who's going to make these shirts. I don't have a shirt design. We're going live this Monday. And so, it all came together, and not to get too spiritual, but I really believe that God has worked this out. It's all fallen into place. It's almost surreal. This guy, I was just going to use an online distributor for the shirts, but this guy that owns a local T-shirt company, he says to me, he calls me up and says, "Hey, can we do the shirts?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So now the whole I thing has turned into we. And this guy, Dan Giganti, owns You and Who shirts. We have been a great team, I feel, in terms of what he's able to bring to the table, and what I've been blessed with in terms of to bring things to the table and stuff like that. And it's just kind of taken off, So he handled, because like I said before, with Bill's Mafia being a 501c3, we're not allowed to donate money specifically to people. There's 501c3s out there that do that, I guess, but you have to have a much larger infrastructure in place. So the way it worked out so perfectly, because Dan, his website, he's able to take the orders, he prints the shirts, and he makes a donation. So all that back office stuff is completely taken care of. and I'm blessed with the opportunity just to get to work with these people that need help, and to work with the artists and come up with ideas and stuff like that. So I hope I'm not rambling on. It's just there's a lot.
You were not. You did a fantastic job. Now you mentioned the Bills Mafia, which is a special thing. By the way, Dell and I had a moment before we got the show going to bond a little bit over some Titans, Oilers, Bills history. We had a actually civil conversation about the Music City Miracle, but I have a lot of respect for the Buffalo Bills and for Bills Mafia. Kristin, I know that you just wrote a fantastic article about Bills Mafia and what that means. Why don't you tell our viewers why don't you explain what Bills Mafia is all about?
I just wanted people, when I wrote that, to understand that Bills Mafia isn't something that we just came up with to be different from the rest of the sporting world. We love our Bills, obviously. We love the football part of it, but we also take a lot of pride in the charity part that Del, Bree, Leslie, and Dan have all put together for us to be able to get this great Bills gear and still make money and help people.
Yeah, I think that it's so important. One of the great things about sports is that it does allow people to bond and to form these communities. And every fan base, really every fan base has one, and they're all unique. And I think the Bills Mafia thing is really brilliant. And the players have really embraced that concept, haven't they, Kristin?
Oh yeah, they have. They definitely have. They hashtag it all the time. Bills Mafia this, Bills Mafia that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch the players do that and talk about that. You see that too in the in the AFC South. I covered the AFC South and the NFC South for National Gridiron Network, so sorry about that. I get a little bit confused sometimes. The AFC South, we have a team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, that have this Duval thing, and they have that kind of symbiotic relationship with the players and the fans and all of that, and you see their players embracing it as well, and it's always to me, that's one of the great things about sports, is watching that relationship between the players and their fans, and it can be very positive and uplifting and rewarding. Sometimes it can be not so positive, but for the most part, I think most fans try to keep it positive and try to keep that relationship going. Sonja, do you want to weigh in here?
Yeah, no, it's kind of nice to see that the team is actually coming together and doing stuff to help the community. And you look at, teams like Seattle who really embrace their fans and really embrace a cause like that. So I think that's really good. Yeah, the 12th man really embrace that 12th man, so that's really cool. But I like what the Bills Mafia has done and are doing and continue to do for the community, and that just enhances the community and makes it that much stronger. And when you're talking about, and I don't really mean to bring up a sore subject, but when you bring up the thought of possibly moving the Bills, and that takes that organization away from the community in a way, and gives the community one less reason to. Was that a high five, Dal?
No, I was blocking out.
Okay. But no, so taking away that, I think if the franchise gets moved, that whole piece, I think, kind of goes along with it, or hopefully it doesn't, but it could. And so that kind of, is not a good thing. But I love what that stands for, the Bills Mafia stands for, and doing things for the community and for people. Del, I just had a quick question. How do you guys choose who gets help and who doesn't?
I hate the way that sounds, but yeah, you're right. Who gets help and who doesn't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at first, when I first started the whole 26shirts thing, I was kind of looking for people. Like, I helped Scott. That was the gentleman I was talking about. We were able to help Scott, and then from there, we were kind of familiar with a couple other certain things. Like a friend of mine, his son actually was hit by a car last summer. So the family was just in a really weird position. Like, he was at a specialized hospital in Pittsburgh, and his parents were going back and forth. from Buffalo to Pittsburgh and everything. So that was kind of obvious, like, all right, we're going to help the Murphys. And then from there, you know, it just started to, like, and there was a couple other people I was aware of. But then, you know, it's been really cool, too, because, like, local news, WGRZ here in Buffalo, has really attached themselves to this. And it's funny, they're, like, on autopilot now. Like, they don't even talk to me. And they're, like, every Monday morning, they're talking about the next shirt that's on 26shirts.com. And people will tell me, like, hey, you know, I heard about your new shirt. Like, where? And they're like, oh, on the TV. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that's neat. But so
yeah, that's very cool.
That's so exciting.
The whole thing is surreal. But the reason I bring that up is because you know, some of the local personalities have been really, like, they've talked about it a lot. So people have discovered us. They found the website, and we have a form there. And now, obviously, the need is great. So there are people from all over that have been asking for help, and I'm trying to get everybody worked in as I can. And I actually created a separate page on the website that says known needs, and those are all people that I haven't quite yet been able to schedule, but they're listed there. So if anybody feels inclined to try and find somebody who they want to help, they can go through there and start clicking the links. And I've seen people post on Facebook, you know, like, hey, I discovered this family, it really moved me, and I'm going to help them out. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, that was, you know, just out of nowhere. Like, this person just drops in and helps another family. So
You read my mind, Dale. I was just getting ready to ask you if somebody wanted to, obviously there are restrictions on what you can and can't allow, but if somebody wanted to help, not somebody who needed help, but if somebody wanted to help in some form or fashion with what you're doing, how would they go about becoming involved in that?
Well, you can hit me up on Twitter at Mr. Deadlier. You can email me, Del, at 26shirts.com, or you can go to 26shirts.com, and there's a Contact Us link right there. You can fill out a form, and from there, you know, it can say, like, you know, it'll say, like, why are you contacting us? And one of them is, I'm an artist. There's a drop down, like, I'm an artist, I have a need, something else. So if you're an artist, you want to help out, you can, you know, choose that drop down. You know, any ideas? You know, Dan and I, we're really open to any ideas that people have. I mean, this is kind of like, I don't want to say it's our thing, but, like, I want to think it's everybody's thing. We're just coordinating it, but we, you know, many hands make light work. So if anybody has ideas or they think they can help out in any way, you know, that's great.
Do you think about expanding it out to anything beyond T-shirts?
It's funny you should mention that. I was talking about that with Dan just today at lunch. Eventually maybe doing, you know, posters or you know, there's other websites out there that they do customized, like, coasters and stuff like that, or you can post on the wall. We'll see where that goes. We are looking into, and I haven't really tweeted about it much, but, you know, I'll say it here, but, like, we are looking into maybe moving into other cities as well too, just because you know, although I don't really like the idea of, like, giving a Patriots fan a shirt that's going to make them happy last team. There's probably somebody in Boston that could really use some help. So maybe I'll leave them lower down the list in terms of cities they move into. But no, in all seriousness, though, like I said before, the need is great, and we just want to, you know, do what we can to take this excitement and this passion that people have for their sports team. It doesn't have to even be football, because we're looking into doing Sabre stuff soon too.
Oh,
but,
cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
This passion that people have for their sports teams, and if we can redirect it just a tiny bit and maybe channel that into some kind of good work that'll help somebody else, then it's a win-win, because that's what I say with the 26 shirts is you get a shirt, you get to be excited about your team. It's pretty unique in the grand scheme of things when you think about, like, going to a stadium. A lot of times there's the same 10 different shirts that everybody's wearing. Maybe you'll have a different 11th shirt that fewer people have. And not only do you get to feel good about your team, but you get to help somebody in the process.
Well, I think that it is just fantastic. It makes my heart swell just thinking about it and talking about it. And if you think of anything else as we're going through the show, we're going to turn to some Bills talk now. But I really want to give you 2 big thumbs up. The Sharona seal of approval for what you're doing. I think that it is, yeah. I think it's fantastic, and you deserve to pat yourself on the back for it, because I think it's really great what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for that. I mean, I really do feel like it's the whole community that's kind of making this thing go. I appreciate the kind words, though, but it really is, like, it's not just me. It's everybody's doing this.
nobody ever really does anything alone. I think that one of the things that that you learn is that you can't, you have to have a community, whether it's a football community or you have these hockey communities. It doesn't necessarily even have to be sports. It can be something else. But nobody ever does anything alone, and having friends and people there to support you is it's important. It's so vital. So happy to see people celebrate that. I know you don't want to talk about it. I know Kristin doesn't want to talk about it because we've talked about it before. But obviously, one of the big off-season discussion points for the Bills has been the fact that Mr. Wilson has passed on. His wife is sort of the nominal owner. The team is up for sale. And they have suitors. I really am a big fan of John Bon Jovi, and I know that Bills fans are very trepidatious about him purchasing the team because they feel like he might. I do not think that he would move the team, but I know that there's a concern there. Kristin, we'll start with you. Tell us, we've talked about this before, but tell us where that stands now and what your thoughts are on whether or not, Donald Trump's been mentioned. A lot of names have been mentioned. Who do you think might be the favorite right now?
I'm hoping Pagula. As a fan, I want Pagula. If he buys them, they're staying, without a doubt, in my mind. I am still at that point where I think Mr. Wilson was smart enough to make it a point that in everything he set up, that the Bills are to not be moved no matter what happens. And I think
it's going to be difficult to move the team if an owner purchases it. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
with the intention of picking up roots and moving logistically and for a lot of reasons. Dale, what are your thoughts?
I have to echo what Kristin said. I really would prefer that it be Terry Pagula. The amount of money that he has sunk into downtown Buffalo at this point with Harbor Center, which is a big facility that is being built right next door to where the Sabres play, which will be all centered around hockey and everything, kind of shows where he's at in terms of his investment in Western New York. And not to get too into back and forth about the whole Bon Jovi thing, but it is very. I mean, it's been shown that the plan is eventually to move the team to Toronto. That's not like a tinfoil hat Bills fan or anything. It's been published. It's been shown that there's actually been stuff. It was kind of like a black eye almost. I don't remember if it was in December or January, whatever it was leaked out. Maybe it was after March. It's all blurry for me now. But they have a whole plan in place to eventually move the team. And again, not to sound conspiracy theory, but that really is the case. So that said, it does make me nervous because you have John Bon Jovi, who's only the front man for this. Everybody focuses on him because he's the name, but you have Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment. I'm sorry?
It's the consortium group.
Right. You have Maple Leafs Sports Entertainment that owns the Raptors, that owns the Maple Leafs. The rumor that came out this past weekend is that they're going to be teaming up with somebody from the Rogers family, which is they own Rogers Communications in Canada. The two of them would be almost a super group in terms of the amount of money that they would have. So that's John Bon Jovi really is not there's a lot of people.
He's not super rich, but he is.
Yeah, he's worth around $300 million. I think that's what it's been published. But so he wouldn't. There's a lot of percentages that work into all that stuff in terms of who has to be the owner, the primary owner, all that stuff.
Right.
I really do think though, it's going to be. This is Buffalo's team to lose. This is Pagula's opportunity to miss out on. He just recently has sold about $1.7 billion worth of land. That's liquidity. That is $1.7 billion. That's a big briefcase. He has filled up with cash. Now, obviously, not all $1.7 billion went into his pocket. There's all kinds of other things that flow out of that. But he is, in terms of individuals, don't forget, MLSE is a corporation that the NFL does not allow corporations to own teams. That's why somebody from the Rogers family would be a big player. But to that to say that it would seem that Pagula is the most liquid of the names that have been mentioned. Donald Trump, a lot of his money, as I understand, is tied up in real estate, and obviously he could free that up. But it really does seem like this is Pakula's team to lose, and that's who I'm pulling for.
Sonja, do you want to weigh in here?
Well, I did hear about the group in Toronto possibly looking at the Bills because of, bringing the football team up to Toronto because of the Maple Leafs and because of the Raptors. That's what I've heard. I wasn't too sure how, that was going to happen. And the Rogers family, Rogers communication is kind of, I kind of know about that a little bit because when I go to work in Detroit, sometimes my cell phone flips over to Rogers Wireless. So there's that connection. Yes. So I can see that. I think the only other suitor really that I thought could be a legitimate candidate would be the group out of Toronto. So hopefully they don't get it because I would love to see the Bills stay in Buffalo.
And go ahead.
There have been conflicting reports. Kind of the latest thing was that that was not. I mean, I understand all the reports and whatnot, but you do see conflicting reports there, and Bon Jovi is part of a similar group that owns the Philadelphia Soul, I believe is
the Arena League.
Is their name, and but again, it's going to be very, very difficult. Whoever purchases the team, and we haven't even talked about this. The owners have to vote on this.
Yeah, they do.
So, there are a lot of hoops to jump through before we ever get to the Bills are picking up and moving to Canada. How successful have the games been? Like last season, I believe, or maybe it was the season before that. There were 6 games in Canada. How successful has that been?
It seems to me that I've been to one game in the since 2008 that they've been playing one regular season game there a year. That was the one game they won. So maybe the Toronto group should have hired me out or something, but. To be honest with you, it was such an awful atmosphere. Like, it really was embarrassing as a Bills fan. And I'm not trying to be cute. And yes, I was jaded going into it. I'll admit it, I was jaded, and I did look at everything sideways. But when the team scores and Scott Chandler, the Bills tight end, goes to jump into the stands, and all the fans go. That's one thing. But the real thing was. They play the Bills shout song. That's the song that they play, every time the Bills score a touchdown. And they play the Bills shout song, and I'm standing up, and I'm cheering and yelling, and I'm acting like my normal goofy self because I'm used to having 73,000 other people doing the exact same thing, and I'm the only one standing in my section. Really, like, it was awful because, like, no, this is what we do. Oh, they sit down and you feel like
I watched it. It was painful.
Go ahead.
Watching it on TV was painful. It looked like there was nobody there, and it looked like most of who was there were Falcons fans. It was quiet when the Bills were scoring and making drives, and it was loud when Atlanta was going down the field. I was like, are you kidding me? What is going on over there? It was awful.
Yeah. I would definitely hate to see the Bills move. But I'm not a big fan. Actually, I'm not a fan at all of overseas expansion. Dale, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about overseas expansion for the NFL?
It's definitely something that they're eyeing. They talk about London all the time. It just seems to me like that would be such a
logistically hard.
Logistical nightmare. Yeah. I mean, maybe we're naive and we're just not understanding the amount of money that would come in that would make the logistical nightmare worth it. But I don't know. I think it's eventually going to happen. And there's some people that say that London's going to get a team before LA is. So that's kind of interesting. I have no problem with it. If it was expansion, I think that would be ideal. I understand that dilutes the talent pool and everything. I just hate the idea of like anybody losing their team. Even if it's not the Bills, if it's some other team, like. I mean, there's people like I can't even imagine what it would be like if the team was to leave. And some people have said like, well, Toronto's nearby. Like, no, they're not our team if they move to Toronto.
Yeah.
It's not even the same country, literally. So
I am completely against a team picking up and moving to London. I would be more accepting, like you said, Dale, of an expansion team. But what a slap in the face to a current NFL franchise for the NFL to allow that team to pick up roots and move overseas where the fans couldn't. There's not even really a realistic possibility that they could attend a game. You know, if it's in the contiguous United States, then you know, there's a realistic possibility that they could go to a game. But overseas, for you know, for your average NFL fan, that just wouldn't be a possibility. I think that it would be a terrible PR move for the NFL for them to allow a current team to relocate over there.
I'll tell you what, though, if the Bills moved, I'd prefer they go to London than Toronto. You know, if your girlfriend's gonna break up with you, you don't want her to date the guy across the street. You want her to move far away, and you never see her again. To me, that would be awful if they moved to Toronto. As far away.
Good analogy.
Well, you know.
That is true.
I don't know. Maybe you feel that way now, but you know, at some point that might, you know, you might want to peek in on her and see how her relationship with her current boo is doing, and see if there's a possibility.
Awful.
Relationship.
You can stalk your ex-boo more easily in Toronto. All right. Well, let's move on from the move issue and talk a little bit about training camp has started for the Bills. Apparently, it's been very hot on the field. We've had some players suffer some heat things. Kristin, Dell and I talked a little bit about this, but let's talk about one of our favorite Buffalo Bills, and that is linebacker Brandon Spikes. How's he doing? He was carted off the field, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I believe he's okay. I'm missing him on Twitter. I know that.
I miss him on Twitter,
not been around. It's boring without Mr. Spikes on Twitter. It really is.
He has not tweeted. I know I miss him on Twitter.
Yeah, me too. I've tweeted him. He's not answering. He is not around. He
did that last year.
Football, which is good though.
Yeah, he did that last year with the New England Patriots. He took a Twitter break. I forget how long. I mean, it was a long one, too. We're talking months and months and months. He was not tweeting or on Twitter. I was like, I miss Brandon Spikes, you know, because he's so entertaining and fun and everything. Now, I saw you tweeting, or I think it was you, about the quarterback situation and Jeff Tull. It sounds like he's having a pretty good camp so far.
It does. There is a battle for number 2 between him and Thad Lewis, which I really thought going into the year that Lewis was going to be number 2. I really did. But no, there's a battle for that now.
Well, you know, competition is good, and you know, the more competition, the better. What are some, Kristin? We'll stick with you, and then we're going to get Dell to weigh in on this. What are some of the position battles that you think are going to be big in training camp this year?
Well, right now, linebacker, we need to find a way. I don't think you can totally replace Kiko Alonso with the.
Yeah. I think Kristin's cutting out for us, I believe.
Yep, hiding in the garage. That'll get you.
Yeah. Dell, what do you think? Tell us, what do you feel about the competition at the backup quarterback spot, and tell us some of the big training camp battles that you expect to see this year.
Well, just to touch on the quarterback bit real quickly, like I think it's good that Tull and Lewis are going back and forth in terms of this. I really think that Lewis is going to win out just because of how well he played last year. He really did a good job of manning the offense, and he went 2-2 as a starter, which is all you can ask for from a backup quarterback. But I think it's good that the team is giving Tull the opportunity to develop. I mean, he was an undrafted free agent, and that kind of gives you an idea in terms of like where the skill set is. Like, but he's around. He's still in the league, and I know a lot of fans gave him a really hard time about those those 2 pick sixes he had
Yeah.
in plays last year. But and I'm not making an excuse for him. But in the Kansas City game, the reason that the defender was even there to intercept the football was because Stevie Johnson juked him so badly that the defender
Right.
actually slipped and fell, and then the ball was there. So
Ah.
as a quarterback, it's like, dude, don't put the ball there. But so whatever. But it's good that they're going back and forth. I mean, that's good. You should have that kind of competition in training camp. As for position battles, just in general, like Kristin said, I think that whoever's going to take over for Kiko Alonso, is it going to be Nigel Bradham? Is it going to be Keith Rivers or Preston Brown, the rookie out of Louisville? Like that's going to be really interesting to see, how that comes about. Now, what's more importantly though is what's going on with the offensive line. Who's going to be playing? Right now, Cordy Glenn hasn't taken one snap at camp. Who's going to be playing left tackle? Who's going to be playing, right tackle? Who's going to be playing, left guard? These are things that we want to see some answers from. So the Bills have a lot of talent. They're the biggest offensive line in the league. Like physically, they're the largest on average size for a player in the league. So they definitely have an idea of what they want to do with the offensive line. Which I guess would bring me to my next point would be the Bills are probably going to run the most run plays in the NFL this year. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. And the Bills, they also traded for Bryce Brown from Philadelphia, who they reportedly have been trying to get for over a year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Fred Jackson, I'll believe that he's slowed down once he's finally slowed down. He's defied his age for so long. I just got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He could be 45 for all I know by the time he actually starts to slow down. The guy just does not seem to age.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like when you think relatively how that happens, with running backs. Normally they hit 29, 30, 31, and they drop right off. But not Freddie. He's 35 years old and he's still plugging. So it'll be interesting to see what they have going on there. Obviously, you have to mention C.J. Spiller. It's just interesting that they traded for Bryce Brown, and they brought in Anthony Dixon from the 49ers and everything. It's really interesting to see. I don't know if that's really position battles even, but just what's going on there. It's going to be interesting to see. And then safety.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about C.J. Spiller. A lot of people really down on him right now is, he had some injuries last season, didn't really produce like people expected him to. It's hard to say that it's over, but is it pretty close to being over for C.J. Spiller as a Buffalo Bill?
I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll have a better idea, I think, come like November. Once we've seen the season play out. He is in his basically what is his final year of his contract. I don't think he's going to pick up the option, at the end of this season, based on how his contract is put together. But I don't know. It's frustrating because in 2012, I mean, that man had one of the most dynamic seasons we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, not to like overplay it, but like he's a freak. And then so we were always angry at Chan Gailey, the Bills coach at the time, for not playing him enough. And then next thing you know, there's a new regime in town, and they're saying we're going to play CJ until he throws up.
Yeah.
that was the famous quote last.
One of the funnest quotes ever.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, his ankles were banged up all season, so he was never able to really do that well. And when he did, you'd see it where it would look like he'd be constantly trying to bang it outside, which it seemed like that was like a rookie tendency, which he seemed to finally get past. But maybe the new offense this past year made him go back to old tendencies. I don't know. So I mean, that's a really long explanation to really give you no answer.
Well, obviously, a lot of what happens with the Bills this year is going to center around E.J. Manuel, who is entering his second year, suffered through, speaking of injuries, another guy who suffered through an injury-plagued 2013. What are the expectations for Mr. Manuel?
To be honest with you, it depends on who you talk to. It's such a mixed bag among fans in terms of expectations. You have some people that are sure that this guy is Emmanuel, the savior of the franchise, and you've got another group of fans who think that this guy is just absolute garbage. And then I like to consider myself like that third group of fans where we say the dude has only played 10 games in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
How can we even gauge
Yeah.
where this guy
Exactly.
stands? You know, so he had injury struggles. He had 3 injuries on 2 knees this past season. So the question is that something that's going to be systemic, that's going to follow him through into this season, or is he going to rise above that now, having supposedly strengthened his knees all off season, and he's wearing braces and all that stuff? And is he going to actually progress through his reads and not dump it off with checkdowns like he did a lot during the season and like he's done the past couple days in training camp? So we'll see. But for me, the jury's still out on EJ. I have no idea how to read this guy. I'm hoping that he's really good because we don't have a first-round pick next year, and he's supposed to be good. So hopefully we'll see.
Sonja,
right.
Sonja, do you have any questions?
No, but yeah, you guys don't have that first round pick because of your friend Mr. Watkins. How do you feel about that?
Right now, I'm okay with it. Like if
Okay.
if management is correct and EJ is the guy they think he is, just based on I went to training camp on Sunday night and just the reports and some of the highlights I've been able to see in the past 2 days since. Dude, Sammy Watkins is the real deal.
He's an exciting player.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, just the way that he was able to, he high points the ball, and when he's able to catch the ball, he's like about 1,000 feet up in the air, and then he comes back down. It's just absolutely insane watching this guy play. He's fast.
It's like ballet. I mean, he really is. He's really fun to watch. I'm a big fan. I agree. It was a high price to pay, but you know what? If he turns into to what you think that he could be, who cares? I mean, you've got a guy who's a difference maker.
Yeah, very much so a difference maker. And then plus, you can build with him and EJ, hopefully. And so that'll work. Yes, you see my 2 little peanuts.
I do see. I do see. Hello.
Say hi, Jill.
Hi, beautiful. Hi, beautiful.
All right, hang on. Mom will be done just a second, okay, guys?
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, they're so
Oh my God. So adorable.
Thank you.
So cute. Yeah.
So silly.
Well, Dale, I have to say, you were talking about the offensive line, and I just have to tell you that I'm very, very happy that we were able to snag one Andy Levitre away from your Buffalo Bills. I think he's going to be a very vital part of the Titans' run game. A guy who he got a little bit of a slow start last year, but came on strong and is a great player, just a great player.
Yeah, he didn't miss any games, if I remember correctly. He didn't miss any games due to injury in his time with the Bills. He was a solid player. I have a little bit of a quirk in terms of I get frustrated when a team in the draft will trade up to get a guy and then doesn't retain him when his contract's up. It's like, well, you obviously were correct in your assessment of him. Like, he's good. That was kind of frustrating for me, but I understand that the team wasn't anxious to spend $8 million, on a left guard, which that's fine. But yeah, I'm happy he's working out for you. He and his I don't know if they're married yet. He and his
They are
girlfriend
married.
All right, they are good people. Like they were. We did some fundraisers and stuff like that, and they were always willing to contribute stuff.
They are so cute.
Oh, that's so awesome.
They are so cute on Twitter and Instagram. I mean, really, they are adorable. And I have to say, I also really appreciate you guys letting George Wilson walk.
I know a lot of the ladies among Bill's Mafia were not happy that he left.
He's attractive.
That is an understatement. As I understand
2
it.
thumbs up.
See?
Very easy on the eyes,
Exactly.
and a great guy in the community, and
Do they still call him the senator there? In Buffalo, they always called him the senator because he was so well spoken. He was always like the voice of the defense and everything. So I don't know.
I have not heard that. I haven't heard that, but he does. Well, last season he and Jason McCourty had a little web shows, sort of like what Sonja and I have. That we should try to get to be web show buddies with them. He does a good job when he talks on the radio and whatnot.
Fun.
From Paducah, Kentucky, by the way, so he's back home. We consider him a local guy, and so we're happy to have him back home. In addition to the fact that he's quite attractive to look at.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on that.
So, all right. Well, so what do you think? The Bills. They were so close to winning so many games last season, and just weren't able to get over that huddle. What do you think the Bills need to do to be able to put those games away, to be able to win the tough games where they're right in there, they're so close, and they just can't get over the hurdle to win it?
Well, they need to make sure that the defense continues the play that they had last year. They have a new defensive coordinator now with Jim Schwartz.
Yes.
Tennessee.
I was getting ready to ask you about Jimmy Schwartz.
Yeah, so
Jimmy. Well, yeah, and Lions.
And Lions head coach, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the two of you. So
exactly.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. But really, again, not to harp on it, it all comes down to EJ Manuel.
Yeah,
if
it does.
EJ Manuel does well, the team will do well. This is probably, and this might sound like Mr. Hype Machine, but this is probably the most talented roster the team has had since Drew Bledsoe's time with
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, I think that they are very talented. Yes.
Yeah,
they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, past 10 or 15 years, this is the most talented roster the team has had. Now that's great and that's all well and good, but if the man under center can't complete passes to guys in stride and continues to do checkdowns and is not the guy that we thought that was being drafted, then that's gonna limit the team, and they're gonna have another 6-10 season. They'll have their fourth consecutive 6-10 season if the quarterback doesn't live up to his billing from management. So that's what it comes down to. It's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of touched on this a little bit. You're okay with the Sammy Watkins, the what they did to acquire Sammy Watkins in the draft. How would you grade the Bills draft this year?
I would. Yeah, I hate doing grades unless it's 3 years later.
I know. I'm sorry.
Can I give you some kind of verbiage instead of a letter grade? But I would say
Look,
very.
We all know grades right now are premature and it's impossible, but they're kind of fun, and so let's get a grade from you.
All right, I'll give them a B+, I guess. I mean, I could be cute and say I for incomplete, but but I really do like that. I liked the boldness in terms of what they did to move up and get Watkins. They had him ranked above Clowney on their board. He was their number one guy. They got him. So congratulations, guys. So I hope you're right. So then you look at Preston Brown, who's going to be called into early action. You look at the 3 different offensive linemen that they drafted. They obviously had a very clear idea of what it is they wanted to accomplish in the draft, and it seems like they hit the nail on the head in terms of what they wanted. So it all comes down to if they're right, then they get an A+.
Yeah.
But if and that's such a cop-out answer, but if they're not, then they fail. So. I'm happy with it. I mean, it seems like the team seems to have an idea of what they wanted to do, and they went out and did it. So, and you look at the trade for Bryce Brown. They wanted this guy for over a year, so that happened during the draft. And then, sadly, during the draft, they also traded, one of my favorite players of the modern era, Stevie Johnson. So that kind of stinks. But,
that was a little bit of a surprising move for me.
A lot of it.
It wasn't surprising after they drafted Watkins. Yeah. After they drafted Watkins, it wasn't surprising. You knew the writing was on the wall as soon as that pick came in. At least I did, but I kept saying no, it's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. Then it happened, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. So.
Yeah.
What are the expectations for Bryce Brown? Where do you think he's going to fit in this offense?
It's tricky. You look at C.J. Spiller, you look at Fred Jackson, and you expect them to be like the 1-2 punch this year, just because at least that's what it's been the past 3 or 4, right? So,
Right.
it's funny too because everybody says like the management is swinging for the fences because they're going to have a new sheriff in town with an owner next season, more than likely. But if we can pretend that that's not happening and that everything's going to stay consistent, it looks like Bryce Brown, they acquired him for next season. It looks like Doug Whaley, the Bills GM, isn't anticipating Spiller and Jackson being back in 2015. It's like if you read the tea leaves, that's what it looks like. Everything always shakes out differently. And you asked me about Spiller before, but like, if you look at it, that seems to be the direction it's going. So, my thought is that Bryce Brown, it looks like they want him to be the lead back in 2015. Maybe that's reading too much into it, but they really wanted this dude.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2014, I have absolutely no idea how many times he's going to touch the ball. It's Buffalo. Somebody will get injured. And
I was about to say, I'm sure one of them will get injured at some point. So, yes, then he'll get his fair chances with
That's
it.
just how it works.
Yeah, it certainly does happen. Give us your prediction on wins and losses this season. How do you think that they do? How do they go?
All right. You know what? I'm going to give them 10-6. And
all right.
It's
Wow.
all dependent. It's all dependent upon EJ being the guy. EJ has to step up. If he doesn't do well, then it's 4-12, 6-10, something like that. But I'll say 6-10 because there's still a lot of talent on this roster. But yeah, I want to think 10-6. You know what? I'm tired of trying to explain to my kids why we're Bills fans. Just to be honest, I'm ready. I'm ready for them to see a game in January. I'm ready. So so help me, 10-6.
Yeah. Well, all right.
What do you guys think? I'll turn it around. What do you guys think?
I like it. Sonja, you go first.
Okay. I was thinking more like 7-9, 8-8, that type of thing. I know. I'm not a true believer, and I'm sorry, but I don't know. That's just kind of where I am right now. I think it's just more. Trust me, if you say something like that for the Lions, I'll totally understand. I get it. Oh, and we play you guys this year, don't we?
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that just as things are just coming together and starting getting, EJ, if he can stay healthy, I think that'll give him a chance. But hopefully, I'm surprised, and they do better. They get that 10-6, but I'm still thinking more so along the lines of 8-8 or 7-9. What about you, Sharona?
I was thinking 8-8 or 9-7. I really thought that the Bills would win more games last year, and I think that they would have won more games last year, absent some of the injuries that they experienced. Losing EJ was big. Then they had some other injuries as well. The running game, was not. I was so big on CJ Spiller. In the offseason last year, I had him ranked as my number 1 or number 2 running back in fantasy football. I was really disappointed that that he did not have the year that I expected him to have. But you know what? And it's like I said earlier, there were so many games that were so close. I mean, they played some really close games, and so. Yeah, it's going to be fun for me to watch, and I like Jimmy Schwartz, and I really hope that he does well as the defensive coordinator for the Bills. A lot of former Titans fans don't have the most positive of opinions for Coach Schwartz, but I do. I think that he's a smart guy, and he struggled initially as the defensive coordinator for the Titans, but they didn't have the players. It's so easy for a coach to look good when you've got good football players. So
Yes.
I guess we'll see. I guess that we'll see. All right. Well, we are winding down. The hour always goes by so fast.
So fast.
Yeah, so fast, but it's always so much fun. Dale, I want you to come back in and tell everybody once again how to find your website, 26 Shirts, how to get in touch with you, and then we'll take us out.
Great, thanks. Yeah, if you want to, first of all, I would recommend first go to billsmafia.com so you have an idea of just how much we love the Bills, how much we talk about it, what the heck it's about. That's all on the website. But, you know, these days a lot of my energy has been going into 26shirts.com. And if you missed the beginning or whatever, the whole point of 26shirts.com is to sell a different Buffalo sports-themed T-shirt every 2 weeks. 52 divided by 2 equals 26. We sell a different shirt every 2 weeks, and the profits that we get from the shirt after we pay for the shirt company for their costs and for the little bit of marketing that we do through Facebook and everything, all the extra money that's left over we give to a family in need. And currently the shirt we're selling right now is a Bruce Smith themed T-shirt, and that is going to help a man with 4 children and a wife, and he's fighting melanoma right now. So you can go, you can get a T-shirt that's going to rep the team, that's going to, I like to think of a great design, and you can give us your money, and we'll take care of making the shirt, and then we'll give the rest of it to somebody who really needs it.
All right. Well, Dale, thanks again for joining us. We hope that you'll come back and talk to us some more as as the season. Oh, here comes Kristin back.
Here's Kristin back.
Kristin. Hey, girl. And there she goes again. All right. Well, Sonja, tell everybody.
Hi.
Hey, Kristin.
Hey, girl.
Hey, Kristin, tell everybody where they can find you.
Hi.
Well,
They can find me on Twitter at Buffalo Bills Girl. Girl is GRL.
All right. Well, I'll be tweeting out your Twitter handles and a link to tonight's show. Sonja, tell everybody where they can find you and give us an update on what's going on with you. We didn't really get a chance to talk about that. Besides your shiny new computer.
Yes, I have a shiny new computer, yay, and husband's headphones, so that's always awesome. So you guys can find me on Twitter at mom, the number 2, the number 3, RN. So yeah, just really getting excited about training camp. Lions rookie showed up today, so that was really good. Although I did hear something about Eric Ebron looking a little soft, meaning like a little bit of a teddy bear. So if he has to start watching his weight, let's get going, buddy. It's the but and just the season getting started. Let's see what else. So you can
now,
find me writing for NFL Female.
When does the Lions training camp start?
So rookies reported today. Everybody else is coming in this weekend. Everybody's, the quarterbacks and stuff started reporting for their physicals and stuff like that. So, yeah, everybody else really gets fired up, I think, this weekend.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you can find me, like I said, writing for NFL Female. Got a couple articles coming out pretty soon. And also you can find me messing around with the guys over at A Good Sports Hang who, just talk sports and all that good stuff. So, yeah, check us out.
We definitely need to get Trav and the guys back on the show. It's been far
too long, guys.
Far too long. I'm Sharona. You can find me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona, and of course at NFLfemale.com. Be sure to check out my latest article for NFL Female, my Tennessee Titans training camp primer. I give you a position by position preview, and as well as the dates that the public can attend training camp this season. You can also check me out every morning on 7:30 Yahoo Sports on Game Over with Fast Eye and Sharona. Big shout out to Liz, our lovely guru over at NFL Female, for who we are so thankful. Without her, none of this would be possible. You can also, by the way, find my work over at National Gridiron Network. I just wrote an article about Mike Sam, about the whole distraction argument about Mike Sam, and basically said that that it really is a farce. So check that out and give me your thoughts on that. I always like to hear feedback from people who read my stuff. We'll be back next week, by the way. I believe we're going to have Gwen, our Baltimore Ravens fan reporter for NFL Female, joining us, and hopefully we're going to get Cecily Dole, who is our Indianapolis Colts reporter, to join us, and we'll be talking about training camp and things that are going on. We're going to stick with our AFC theme, so I'm kind of happy to be hanging out with some more AFC people. Have a great evening. We'll be back next week, and we hope that you enjoyed the show.
Thanks. Bye, guys.